Live from the BDN Studios, it's Bang and Dang.
That's awesome.
If you don't like that, then
You ain't black.
Wilson's Creek Class A battle led by Brigadier General Nathaniel Lyon, Colonel Franz Siegel, Major Samuel D. Sturgis, commanding the Army of the West, which had approximately 5,430 troops. On the other side was the Missouri Army and the Confederate State Army, which was commanded by Major General Sterling Price, Brigadier General Ben McCulloch, Brigadier General Nicholas Pierce of the Missouri State Guard, and the Western Army of the Confederate States, with a troop size of about 12,120. So once again, Union are way outnumbered here. It took place as the Battle of Wilson's Creek, also known as the Battle of Oak Hills, was the first major battle of the Trans-Mississippi Theater of the war. It was fought on August 10th, 1861, near Springfield, Missouri, right by the Simpsons' home. At the beginning of the American Civil War, Missouri declared that it would be an armed neutral in the conflict and not send materials or men to either side. We quickly know what happened there. On April 20th, the secessionist mob seized the arsenal in Liberty, Missouri, increasing Union concerns in the state. The neutrality was put to a major test on May 10th in what became known as the Camp Jackson Affair. Governor Claiborne F. Jackson had called out the Missouri Volunteer Militia to drill on the edge of St. Louis and Lindo Grove.
Ooh.
Yeah, the governor, we know he took part and actually manned a battle.
The governor had clandestinely obtained artillery from the Confederacy and smuggled the pieces into the militia encampment, referred to as Camp Jackson. Captain Nathaniel Lyon was aware of this shipment and was concerned the militia would move on the St. Louis arsenal. Thomas W. Sweeney was put in command of the arsenal's defense, and Lyon surrounded the militia camp with Union troops and home guards, forcing the surrender of the militia. When he marched the prisoners through the streets to the arsenal, some angry members of the crowd began to press against the procession. Taunts and jostling eventually led to gunfire and many deaths. Most of the dead were civilians, but several soldiers and members of the militia were also killed.
Yes, sir. We've covered a lot of this already, but a little refresher won't hurt. A day later, the Missouri General Assembly created the Missouri State Guard, which just got whooped on by the Missouri Home Guard in their last battle,
Right.
theoretically to defend the state from attacks by perceived enemies on either side of the war. Yeah, right. The governor appointed Sterling Price as the commander with the rank of Major General of State Forces. The State Guard was divided into divisions, with each division consisting of units raised from a military district of Missouri and commanded by a brigadier general. That's usually how it goes, because many of the organization's recruiting areas were behind Union lines. Many divisions were the size of a brigade, consisted only of a few regiments. It's fine.
All right. Fearing Missouri's tilt to the south, William S. Harney, the federal commander of the United States Departments of the West, which included Missouri, negotiated the Price-Harney Truce on May 12th, 1861, which nominally created cooperation between the United States Army and the Missouri State Guard to maintain order in the Missouri and protect it from outside interference. Jackson publicly declared his support for the truce, while secretly requesting that the Confederate forces enter Missouri to liberate Missouri from the federal control.
This guy's a piece of work, huh?
Right.
Jeez. After complaints by Missouri Unionists, Harney was replaced by Lyon, who was promoted to Brigadier General Volunteers. Further undermining the fragile truce, on June 12th, Lyon and Jackson met at the St. Louis Planters House Hotel, and they last attempted to avoid a resumption of fighting. Both sides were inflexible, with Lyon demanding the right to inspect any area of the state for Confederate intervention, and Jackson refusing and demanding that federal forces be restricted to the St. Louis metropolitan area. So that you guys stay in St. Louis, you don't worry about the rest of my state.
Right.
Colonel Sneed, the only surviving witness to that meeting, stated that the meeting ended with Lyon reportedly saying, "This means war. In an hour, one of my officers will call for you and conduct you out of my lines." Lyon sent a force under Sweeney to Springfield, while his own forces quickly captured the capital and pursued Jackson, Price, and the now exiled state government across Missouri. Skirmishes followed, including the Battle of Boonville, which we covered. I don't think you guys got it because Dang deleted it, on June 17, and the Battle of Carthage on July 5th. In light of the crisis, the delegates of the Missouri Constitutional Convention that had rejected secession in February reconvened. On July 27th, the convention declared the governor's office vacant and selected Hamilton Rowan Gamble to be the new provisional governor.
So yeah, so all that show you guys missed, that was it right there, guys.
Yeah, pretty much.
By July 13th, 1861, Lyon's army of approximately 5,430 men were encamped at Springfield. His force was composed of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd and 5th Missouri Infantry, the 1st Iowa Infantry, the 1st and 2nd Kansas Infantry, as well as several companies of regular Army infantry and cavalry, and 3 batteries of artillery. He divided the units into 4 brigades, commanded by Major Samuel D. Sturgis, Colonel Franz Sigel, Sigel, so figure it out, Lieutenant Colonel George Andrews, and Colonel George Deitzler. By the end of July, the Missouri State Guard was camped about 75 miles southwest of Springfield, had been reinforced by Confederate Brigadier General Benjamin McCulloch, and Arkansas State Military Brigadier General N. Bart Pierce.
Militia.
Making the mixed Missouri-Arkansas Confederate force about 12,120 strong.
Yum.
Ooh, these guys ain't playing
No,
around.
well, we've seen numbers don't mean a thing.
Right.
Price and McCulloch delivered plans to attack Springfield, but Lyon marched out of the city on August 1st in an attempt to...
He goes, our best method so far is just confronting these guys head on. And we learned from the guy at Helen's Hill or Hank Hill's house.
A couple day prior, right?
That guy, he should have kept on moving.
Henry Hill, yeah. So he wants to do a surprise attack in the Southern forces. The Army's vanguard skirmished at Doug Springs in Missouri on August 2nd. The Union force emerged as the victor, but Lyon learned he was outnumbered by more than 2-1 and retreated back to Springfield. He was like, yeah. McCulloch, now in command of the Missourian Army, gave chase. By August 6th, his force was encamped at Wilson's Creek, 10 miles southwest of the city.
Uh-oh. Price favored an immediate attack on Springfield, but McCulloch, doubtful about the quality of the Missouri State Guard, preferred to remain in place. After Price threatened to launch an attack without his support, McCulloch agreed to an attack at dawn on the 10th. But when a rainstorm started during the evening of the 9th, he canceled his plans and ordered his troops back to camp.
What a
Rainstorm was perfect, actually.
Well, not only that, what a disorganized army.
Right.
I'm going to launch unless you have my support or not. Well, no, that's stupid.
Right, man. You're way out there. Yeah.
Idiots.
A lot of these smaller things, dude, they weren't ran by nobody.
Well, they had brigadier generals and
Right,
shit.
but they were like the bosses, basically. The main guys miles and 1,000 states away.
Well, obviously, but still, there's one guy that runs the whole group.
Right. And could be most of them, which we've seen a lot of Western movies are.
That's true.
Corrupt bastards. Outnumbered, Lyon planned to withdraw northeast to Rolla to reinforce and supply, but not before launching a surprise attack on the Missourian camp to delay pursuit.
He was like, but before we
But
leave.
first, pew pew.
Sigel proposed striking McCulloch in a pincer movement, which forces simultaneously attack on both flanks. Good for them. Okay, so they're going to come from both sides at the same time.
And roll out.
All right, bye. Which would split the already outnumbered Union force. Yeah, you don't want to do that. He planned to lead 1,200 men in a flanking. He planned to lead 1,200 men in a flanking maneuver, while the main body under Lyon struck from the north. Lyon concurred, and in accord with Sigel's plan, the Union Army marched out of Springfield on the rainy night of August 9th, leaving about 1,000 men to protect supplies and cover the retreat.
Okay.
So they're taking about 1,200 men. Compared to 12,000 men. Yeah, I don't know. Well, we got the Army of the West led by Nathaniel Lyon and Major Samuel D. Sturgis. Their staff was Assistant Inspector General Brigadier General Thomas W. Sweeney. Chief of Staff was Major John M. Schofield. We got the 1st Brigade of Major Samuel D. Sturgis running it with 2nd Missouri Infantry, 1st U.S. Infantry, Company 1 of the 2nd Kansas Infantry, which was mounted, Company D of the 1st U.S. Cavalry, Company F of the 2nd U.S. Artillery. And all the names, you guys can go look up for that and select to go over. The 2nd Brigade was Colonel Franz Siegel's command, which had included the 3rd Missouri Infantry, the 5th Missouri Infantry, Company 1 of the 1st U.S. Cavalry, Company C of the 2nd U.S. Dragoons, Backoff's Battery, Missouri Light Artillery.
Okay.
The 3rd Brigade, led by Lieutenant Colonel George L. Andrews, the 1st Missouri Infantry here, 2nd U.S. Infantry, and Du Bois Battery. Okay. So we got a couple batteries here. Right. The 4th Brigade, led by Colonel Deitzler, consisted of the 1st Iowa Infantry, the 1st Kansas Infantry, the 2nd Kansas Infantry, and the 13th Illinois Infantry, and the Home Guards.
Oh, you got that nice little...
Good for them.
Nice little thing here. Well, Confederate forces, you got...
See, that's the thing about what we're about to see here. Well, I guess not right there, but the Union always had way more people like in command and all that stuff than the Confederates. There a lot of go through people to get the stuff done.
Right. Well,
where the Confederates were just couple people,
a couple guys and a couple main guys. You know, that's all you need is a couple guys to run the show. Confederate forces that was at Wilson's Creek is Brigadier General Benjamin McCulloch, which we said.
This is the Western Army.
Right. McCulloch's brigade which him and Colonel McIntosh led, was the 3rd Louisiana Infantry, 3rd Arkansas Infantry Battalion, 1st Arkansas Mounted Rifles, 2nd Arkansas Mounted Rifles, South Kansas Texas Mounted Regiment. Ooh, they like the mounted, huh? Pierce's Division, Arkansas State Troops, led by Brigadier General Nicholas Bartlett Pierce. He commanded the 1st Arkansas Cavalry, Carroll's Cavalry, 3rd Regiment Arkansas State Troops, 4th Regiment Arkansas State Troops, 5th Regiment Arkansas State Troops, the Woodruff's Battery, and Reed's Battery. So automatically we got 4 cavalries and a couple batteries. I mean, that seems pretty strong there.
Yeah, I don't even think this one needs... Then you got the Missouri State Guard, commanded by Major General Sterling Price. His 2nd Division was commanded by Brigadier General James S. Rain, which included... they had divisions, brigades, and regiments. Whoa. The 2nd Division of Brigadier General James S. Rains, and that brigade was Infantry Brigade Colonel Richard Hanson Waitman's command. They included the 1st Missouri State Guard Infantry, 2nd Missouri State Guard Infantry, 3rd Missouri, and 4th Missouri State Guard Infantry.
So all the Missouris. We
have Cavalry Brigade Colonel James Cawthorn's regiment of Peyton's Cavalry, McCowan's Cavalry, Hunter's Cavalry. We had an Artillery Brigade, which had Bledsoe's Battery. Then we had the 3rd Division, Brigadier General John Bullock Clark, who also commanded the brigade, which consisted of Burbridge's Infantry and Major's Cavalry.
All right.
4th Division, Brigadier General William Y. Slack also commanded the brigade of Hughes Infantry, Thornton's Infantry, and Rives Cavalry.
Okay.
6th Division, commanded by Mosby Parsons, who also commanded the brigade, Kelly's Infantry, Brown's Cavalry, Goober's Battery.
Okay.
It's just random names of people's stuff. 7th Division, commanded by Brigadier General James H. McBride, who also commanded the brigade. The regiments were Wingo's Infantry, Foster's Infantry, and Campbell's Cavalry.
It's a lot. I mean, you got a little tiny bunch of bits and pieces here.
Yeah, we got too much.
Crazy.
Too much.
First Light, August 10th, 1861. The Union began a surprise attack on the opposing forces. Lyon's force overran the enemy camps, took the high ground at the crest of a ridge, which would become known as Bloody Hill.
I'm sure it was.
Early Union hopes for a rout were dashed. However, when the artillery of the Pulaski, Arkansas Battery unlimbered and checked the advance, which gave Price's infantry time to cover and to organize lines on the south slope of the hill. Lyon organized a line on a southern slope of Bloody Hill, from which he launched an unsuccessful counterattack. Price launched a series of frontal and flank attacks, but also was unsuccessful. A shortage of ammunition in the Confederate Army was a factor in the Confederate defeats.
Okay. The two Union forces lost contact with each other with no means of communicating or supporting each other if anything went wrong.
Right.
Sigel's attack was successful at first. The brigade arrived in the Confederate rear soon after dawn. Artillery fire routed the Confederate cavalry units, which were encamped at Sharp's Farm. Sigel began a pursuit but stopped along Skegg's Branch. During the break, he failed to post skirmishers, leaving his left flank open for an attack. You can't be doing that stuff, guys. Meanwhile, McCulloch rallied several Confederate units, including the 3rd Louisiana Infantry and the 3rd Division from the Missouri State Guard, to lead a counterattack. See, you can't leave your flanks open, man.
No. This ain't looking very well. This looks kind of sloppy. What's going on here, man?
Oh, yeah, everything's sloppy in this first. Still, you gotta realize we're still only in the first 4 months of the war, dude.
Right. Sigel's men mistook the 3rd Louisiana for the 1st Iowa Infantry, which also wore gray uniforms.
Yeah, we need a certain sort that out.
Right. And withheld their fire until the Confederates were nearly upon them.
Jeez.
His flank was consequently devastated by the counterattack, and his brigade was routed, losing 4 cannons.
You know, at this point, anybody that has gray uniforms, shoot them.
Right.
It's their fault.
Right.
Don't wear gray no more.
Right.
Jeez.
Sigel and his men fled to the field, leaving the force under Lyon, Sweeney, and Sturgis holding out alone. With the rout of Sigel's flank, the momentum of the battle shifted in the South's favor.
Yeah.
Lyon was wounded twice and worried that the day was lost. He attempted to lead a counterattack. However, Lyon was shot in the heart. The old Lion heart. Chris Jericho, that's where he got it from, huh? And the charge fell apart after his death.
Yeah, when your leader's gone, dude, I mean, you're just demoralized after that. Poor Lyon, too. He rose to prominence in the first couple months and then Dies like that, huh? Lyon became the first Union general to be killed in the war. General Sweeney was shot in the leg, and Major Sturgis, as the highest-ranking regular Army officer, assumed command of the Union Army. Lyon was the overall leader, wasn't he?
Overall.
So now we got Sturgis, the leader here. Despite still being in a defensible position atop the hill, Union supplies were low and morale was worsening.
What the hell is he doing in Missouri?
By 11 a.m., the Union forces had already repulsed 3 separate Confederate charges. Ammunition and men were nearly exhausted, and Sturgis retreated rather than risk a 4th Confederate attack. Probably smart.
Right.
Henry Clay Wood, in command of a company that helped cover the retreat, later received the Medal of Honor for the heroism he displayed in keeping his company organized and functioning as it left the battlefield.
Huh.
Yeah, because as we see in the Bull Run and other places, nobody can retreat in an orderly fashion.
Right.
So
it's ridiculous.
At least old Henry Clay Wood knew what he was doing.
Right. He's like, calmly back off, guys.
Got to be organized, stay together, and
we're good.
Yeah.
The casualties were about equal on both sides, around 1,317 Union, and an estimated 1,232 Confederate, Missourian, Arkansas soldiers were either killed, wounded, or captured. Though the Confederate force won the field, they were unable to pursue their retreating Union forces to Rolla. Price wanted to start a pursuit of the Union force immediately, but McCulloch refused, worried about the quality of the Missouri State Guard and the length of his supply line back to Arkansas.
Man.
With the victory, Price's Missouri Guard began an invasion of northern Missouri that culminated in the First Battle of Lexington, September 20th.
Which we'll have in a couple of months.
The Confederate and Arkansas forces withdrew from the state.
From the whole state?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. After the Battle of Lexington, so I guess we'll see what happens there. After falling back to Springfield, Sturgis handed command of the Union Army over to Sigel. At a council of war that evening, it was agreed that the Army had to fall back to Rolla beginning at 3 a.m. the next morning. However, Sigel failed to get his brigade ready at that time, forcing a delay of several hours.
Ooh.
Jeez, and what I swear to God, these people are stupid, dude. Along the retreat route, Sigel's men took several lengthy delays to prepare meals. This caused the other officers to force Sigel to turn command back over to Sturgis. Yeah, should have just let Sturgis do the whole thing. Idiots. That's dumb.
October 30th, the Missourians under Price and Jackson formally joined the Confederate cause in Neosho, Missouri. A rump of the Missouri State Assembly meeting in Neosho passed the resolutions of the Missouri Secession, and Jackson became nominally the governor of Confederate Missouri. Jackson had never accepted his July removal from office by the state convention. However, the secession action was never accepted by most of the population of Missouri, and the state remained in the Union throughout the war.
Sure did.
So they tried.
They tried.
They tried this. We'll just make our own.
He had his little section that he probably ran. That's about it.
You know it.
Right.
You know it.
What little control Price and Jackson did have was diminished by Confederate reverses during the battles of Fredericktown on October 21st and the First Battle of Springfield on October 25th. The Confederate state government was soon forced to leave the state altogether. Although Price enjoyed some Missouri victories, notably the siege and capture of Lexington, he did not have the popular support to remain in the field, eventually retreating to northwest Arkansas.
Okay.
After 1861, he was commissioned as a Confederate major general and led his forces in battles in Arkansas and Mississippi. While there were smaller incursions and skirmishes in Missouri, Price did not return to Missouri with a major force until 1864. He said, "I'm back.
I'm back.
And better than ever." Got gray hair.
Right. Nevertheless, Missouri suffered extensive guerrilla warfare between Unionists and pro-Confederate bushwhackers, such as Quantrill's Raiders and Bloody Bill Anderson's throughout the war.
Mm-hmm.
By early 1862, Federal forces had effectively pushed Price out of Missouri. An army under Union General Samuel Ryan Curtis pursued Price into Arkansas, where General Earl Van Dorn assumed command of the combined forces led by Price and McCulloch. Outnumbered, Curtis nonetheless defeated Van Dorn's Confederate Army of the West at the Battle of Pea Ridge, 6th and through the 8th of March, ending any attempt...
In 1862, so that's like a year away.
Right. Ending any attempt by major Confederate to force occupy Missouri until Price's raid in 1864.
All right, we're getting there. The Battle of Wilson's Creek was the first major battle fought west of the Mississippi River, and the battle was known as the Battle of Oak Hills in the Confederacy and sometimes called the Bull Run of the West. The site of the battle has been protected as Wilson's Creek National Battlefield. The National Park Service operates a visitor center featuring exhibits, a fiber optic map displaying the course of the battle, and a research library. That'd be cool.
I'd like to visit that.
Live-in history programs depicting various aspects of the soldiers' experience of that area are presented on weekends seasonally.
Okay.
With the exception of the vegetation and the addition of interpretive hiking trails and a self-guided auto tour route, 1,750 acres battlefield has changed little from its historic setting.
Nice.
That's good.
Nice.
Allowing visitors to experience the battlefield in nearly pristine condition.
Oh, shit.
I bet you can probably still go there and dig up bullets and all that good stuff.
I don't know if you're allowed to take like metal detectors and stuff. I'm sure they already did that.
No, not on the battlefield.
Right.
No. The home of the Ray family, which served as Confederate field hospital during the battle, has been preserved and represents one of only 2 structures in existence during the battle to still be standing on the park today, the other being a spring house. In addition, the American Battlefield Trust has preserved 278 acres of the Wilson's Battle Creek battlefield.
I like to go to that house and just stand on that porch and to think how many soldiers stood on that porch.
Right, and were treated and got
right around that
cut
area.
off.
And we took a piss on that post right there. Or
right.
sat there all day smoking their cigarettes and drinking the whiskey.
Well, I don't know about all day because it was like right at the battlefield.
Right.
So that was just a house. There's like bandage these guys up, get them back out there if they can. If not, then they're screwed. Imagine how many bullets fall past you. You're like, look out your window and you see damn battle, dude. It's crazy.
Crazy stuff.
Crazy stuff.